Hey guys, TGIF, welcome and welcome back to my channel. While you're here, go ahead and show your girl some love by liking the video and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe. Those interested in remote work, I post around 12 to 13 per day on my personal channel. I will link that in the comments below. Fridays I post non-call center based positions, so I will post that in the link below, and plus I have vlogs, story times, my personal life that is on my personal channel. Okay, so I'll link that in the comments below. Today's video is going to be another witchcraft video, y'all. This is gonna be my friend slash bestie put witchcraft on me. I don't know if the girl in her story was considered her bestie at the time, so just work with me on the title, y'all, because I'm gonna figure out something. But this is a good story. I was gonna put a whole mashup of videos on here, but this story was long enough, so go ahead and watch it. We'll be back at the end with the commentary.
I got a question. Have y'all friends ever put witchcraft on y'all? I know that's a crazy behind question, right? Story time. So I met this girl, right? And I was working with her. This is another girl. So I had like 200 girls that I used to hang with at different times, in different locations, in different places, for different situations. Anyway, so we had hit it off. It was actually 3 of us. Well, actually, it was another girl before her, but she became a copycat, and she got weird to the point where she started wearing the clothes that I was wearing. She literally started going to the store buying these same clothes. Wasn't talking to me. And then decided one day just to come upstairs on my floor where I was working just to tell me, hey. And when she said, hey, it was like the weirdest thing because you had my exact outfit. So I stopped talking to her because she was just weird, being weird, right? And there's other stuff she did, but I ignored it, but I'm not going to get into that. So then it was me and 2 other girls. We was like the 3 students or whatever. So we hit it off. We were working together. Everything was going good. You know, at the time, the girl, she had a hardship. So I think it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I let her come stay with me and my family. So she stayed with us for a little while or whatever. And then that went left. And then she finally got her an apartment. So then I had started going through some things financially. Because it was around the pandemic, around that era. So I had lost my job. So I was going through stuff financially or whatever. So I ended up having to move with her. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So I let her know me and my family, hey, and then she had to come stay. I had to go stay with her for a little while. So long story short, when I first got there, her sister was nice. You know, she always been sweet, giving me the shirt off her back, and I always been a sweetheart, give you the shirt off my back. But what I noticed was she was nice to me, but she was like too clingy, and she was always bringing me food. And she was like, you hungry? Because she was working at like this jazz place on the side. She had a full-time job and another job working at a little jazz place or whatever. She was like, you hungry? And at this time I was working in a beauty salon. I was at the front desk or whatever, and then I was studying how to do dreads or whatever because I have cosmetology background. So anyway, so a long story short, she was, being weird or whatever. And one day I ended up quitting my job with the girl that got me a job who owned the shop because she started being weird and I wasn't with it. So I met this dude or whatever that I known since high school. I met him at a kickback. 22 years later, we end up seeing each other at a kickback, and we decided, hey, we're going to be together. You know what I'm saying? It probably took him all of 2 weeks to ask me to be his girlfriend because he was like rushing me like, hey, come on, God, I ain't got all day. I want to be with you. I ain't got all day. And I don't think he said he wanted to be my boyfriend, but he wanted to get married. So he was basically introducing me to his family as his wife. Because he said, hey, I don't want a girlfriend. I want a wife. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that went. So a long story short, me and the girl were fine. Like, she kept feeding me. And I'm like, why does this girl keep feeding me? But I didn't think about it then. Because when you're outside of the will of God and you're not doing what he wants you to do, your discernment begins to get a little bit distorted. And you can't seem to see the things that you can see when you're really in alignment the way you can when you're out of alignment, right? Some things that seem a little blurry. So I didn't pick up on the fact that she just kept feeding me, being real nice. So I ended up start talking to him or whatever. Things went left. She ended up talking to one of his homeboys, and she started getting funny with me when she thought the story was going to go boy meets girl family. That didn't happen for her. Well, some of us, and I hate to say this, y'all, but some of us have a wife gifted. Like, we just made to be wives. Like, that's just what it is. You know, men cling to us, and they just be like, hey, I want to marry this girl. I'm the girl. So she's not the girl, right? She's an ex-stripper or whatever like that, which is nothing wrong with that if that's what you choose to do. I mean, I don't agree with it, but if that's what you choose to do, by all means. However, because she came from that lifestyle, unfortunately, that's what was exuding from her, which was a harsh lifestyle, right? There were two other guys that she was dealing with that was hitting and quitting it. So she couldn't figure out why I went to a party one time and had a boyfriend in about 2 weeks, right? She couldn't figure it out. But that is because the dude that knew me from high school knew that I've always had some kind of proof about myself, and I was that girl. I was not like a wild child back then or whatever. I had my moments, but for the most part, that's not my personality. So that's why he chose me quickly or whatever. So anyway, was dealing with the girl or whatever, and started talking to the boy. I saw like some jealousy coming in there, but I was like, is it just me? Is it just my imagination, right? So in the beginning, we were living together. We were sharing a room because the other room was being renovated. So we were sharing a room. Y'all, we like sisters. You know what I'm saying? My mom and them helped her get her apartment together, everything. Like, we was like sisters. So all that, we sharing a room, wasn't no funny business. It's just two sisters laying on each other, watching TV, just chilling like two sisters. So long story short, and she has a lesbian background as well. So yeah, we gonna get into it. So a long story short, I ended up dating the dude or whatever like that. Stuff started getting real funny. I started inviting him over to the house. When I started inviting him over to the house, she started acting funny. Why? One, because the dude that she was talking to at her job, he wasn't feeling her. Like, he was hitting and quitting, and so was the other dude. He was hitting and quitting as well. So here go me, little me, go to a party, invite her. He introduced her to his friend. They hit it off, hit it and quit it. He don't want nothing to do with her. She mad at me. She going after me saying, you spoiled brat, you know, you fed from a silver spoon, I went fed from, I mean, this stuff is coming from out of nowhere, and y'all, that's why you gotta be careful, and you really gotta watch people and the signs, because a lot of times people don't even like you and they be hanging with you, and you don't even know it, because they don't show you no type of signs that they don't like you, not at first. So she was like, yeah, and you're gonna have to move it to that other room or whatever. Mind you, and yes, I'm gonna be really wrong. Mind you, the house was infested with rats. So it was a rat in the other room or whatever. So I ended up moving in the other room, y'all. I didn't have nowhere to go. I didn't have nothing. I don't live with rats. I don't even come from rats. Even when I was in the hood, we had rats. So I came to and if we did, my grandma made sure, baby, we weren't gonna have for long, because my grandma had a nice house. Like, she, even though it was in the hood, she had everything set up straight. You know, I got over 3 jobs, entrepreneur, all that. So our house was in the hood, but inside it didn't look like the hood, if you know what I mean. So anyway, a long story short, there was a rat in there, and I was like, well, I keep seeing like little droppings on the floor or whatever. And then she was like, girl, don't worry about it. I come from blah, 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 because I don't want to really put her out there like that. I come from blah, 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 because she's not from Florida. She's from somewhere else. I come from blah, 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 and our rats be bigger than y'all rats, and that's a wood rat. And I'm like, I know, but I'm freaked out. I don't want to move in there. So she made me move in there anyway, because now I was with my boyfriend. So she started getting real salty with me and stuff. And so I found out that she was putting stuff in my food at the time, because I was dealing with a spiritualist. I knew better than that, but at the time I was dealing with a spiritualist. And I would notice that, because I'm a Christian, but I had went into some little tarot stuff, because my life was going to downhill, and I was like, Lord, I don't know where you at, I'm finna leave you, I'm finna go do my thing. So I was seeking the psychics or whatever. So, you know, they were saying, oh yeah, she put witchcraft in you, whatever. So I noticed my ex-boyfriend was like, she a witch. And I'm like, yeah, she said her grandma, you know, they do voodoo or whatever like that, but she said she don't really get it that. She said she be wanting to go to church. And see, this is how people be getting me, because they be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to church with you on. I do this because when I was younger, I was one foot in and one foot out. I was playing hokey pokey with God. One foot in, one foot out, one foot in, put your left foot in, shake it all about. That was me. I never was truly sold out like I am now. So, a long story short, and she was just basically like, y'all gotta stay tuned for part 2, because my video for the cutoff, but stay tuned for part 2. Thank you. So part 2, how my friend put witchcraft on me. Y'all go see part 1 if y'all want to see the rest of it, but this is part 2. So anyway, carrying on from the first video, after all of that took place with me and my ex or whatever, and I told y'all she started acting funny, my birthday came. When my birthday came, I had bought like a little one-piece leopard outfit Yeah, I looked like I was finna go on the pole, okay? But I had a boyfriend at the time, and I was a firm believer, if you with your man, you gotta look the part. So when he go out in the streets, he ain't looking at nobody but you, because he too busy concentrating on what you got on, so nobody else won't look at you. And that's exactly what took place when we got to the restaurant. But anyway, a long story short, she was starting to get like a little jelly about our relationship, to the point where when I first started living there, I was rent free, no rent, because I wasn't even making that much money as it is at the salon. So it was like I ain't have to pay nothing or whatever. And that was more so because I also scratched her back, you know what I'm saying? Not me being a freeloader, but you live with us rent free. You see what I'm saying? We let you buy whatever you want to buy. You bought you nails, you bought you hair, you ain't even offer to pay 5 cents. So yeah, I'm entitled to live with you for free, period. So anyway, until I get on my feet. So anyway, we end up getting into it. You know, I saw a little funny stuff. Like one time when I was over there, and I'm gonna get to the witchcraft stuff, but I'm just building to that. One time when I was getting ready to go, before my birthday came or whatever, she had some little shorts on to greet my boyfriend at the door. She was like, hey. And you know, at first I was like, wait a minute, because we speak against this kind of stuff. We are not these girls. And for you to be the totally opposite of what I thought I ever knew, and I've known this girl for years at the time. It was years. So it wasn't like no wham bam thank you ma'am as a friendship. So the way you just started turning was absolutely insane. That's why I always say you never really know a person. You just never, you know what they show you, but you don't know them. Some people like me, people like me, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm a whatever you see is what you get type of person, but everybody ain't like me. Everybody ain't raw and real uncut like me. You know what I'm saying? Not holding nothing back. You got some people that'll show you a version of them, and that's the version they show everybody else. And when they get in a deep dark place, they're a whole different person by themselves. So she was like that. So anyway, I noticed that on my birthday, like I told y'all, she was also her past was being a lesbian or whatever. So I didn't know that the girl had a crush on me. I didn't know that went a whole nother direction. So my ex-boyfriend, he was like, when you had on your little outfit or whatever, she was staring at you, and I was like, what? You know, because I didn't think about it, and I just let it go. And he was like, it really peed me off. And so I just didn't think about it. So we went on about our, married time for my birthday and everything. I had a great time. And then, anybody that I talk to, they be big spenders. So he was spending on me, even though I was living with her, because I was in a rush to move, because I wanted to get me together. I didn't want it to be a man that got me together. I wanted to get me together. So she started getting jealous because he started spending on me or whatever. So she was like, oh, y'all gonna have to find y'all the place. After she moved me in the room with the rat, she was like, y'all gonna have to find a new place. So I moved out of one room and moved to another room, because she had a 3-bedroom. And it was a house, not an apartment, y'all. I do apologize. One bedroom to another bedroom, because the droppings were in that bedroom with the hole in it. So I made her go to the store and patch up the wall. And so my ex-boyfriend, I was like, hey, if she get the stuff, I forgot what it's called, y'all, because I talk so fast and I can't think right now. Whatever the little white stuff is, to put in the wall, to put the hole in it so the rat won't get into it. She told him to do it or whatever. He was like, cool, I'll do it, just go get the stuff, because she was procrastinating. So end up like sealing the wall or whatever. You can hear the rats like rambling. Oh, y'all, worse. I can't stand stuff like that, but it was worse. You can hear the rats rumbling and stuff like that. So anyway, we started getting into, like, me and my ex-boyfriend, we started getting into a lot of arguments, because he started spending the night. Then she had the audacity for this guy that she met on social media. She had the audacity to bring him in her house, and we didn't even know who he was. He had a key and all. I said, oh, I got to move out of here. So I was telling my boyfriend, so he was coming and bringing his piece or whatever. He was like, yeah, I'm just going to bring my piece, because I don't got time for all of this or whatever. Because where he was staying, it wasn't meant for no company, and that's all I'm going to say. So, I didn't want to go over there. So, a long story short, he was coming to see me, taking me places, doing things, getting me together, or whatever. So, a long story short, one night we was in the room and we just started bickering, arguing. And I'm like, dang, we was good. Like, we was the type of couple where if we have a disagreement, we recover real fast, because that was one of my prayers. I was like, Lord, whoever you send me, let us recover real fast, when we get in arguments or whatever, or get into disagreements. So when he was on the phone with me, y'all, was like he was a fly on the wall when I was praying before I met him. So like again, so he said to me on the phone, he said, yeah, you know, I hope that when we, you know, get to disagreements that we recover quickly. Y'all, but that's a whole nother video on how the devil hear your prayers too, but we ain't gonna get into it. So anyway, so a long story short, we started bickering, arguing, and at the time I was seeking spiritualists. So, you know, the spiritualist was saying that the, you know, her sign and whatever was, that girl was putting witchcraft on me, and it was like y'all starting to argue more, and I didn't consult with them about anything. They was just telling me. And so, long story short, and don't go consult a spiritualist. This is my testimony, okay? Don't do that. That's witchcraft. So, a long story short, the spiritualists was saying all of this stuff, and my ex-boyfriend, he couldn't stand the fact that I was listening to spiritualists because we have Christian backgrounds. So he was like, what are you doing? I was like, but they right, everything is going right, everything is going. And I started getting addicted to that mess because they were telling me everything about everybody, everything that was happening. I felt like I was just God himself, and that's the problem. And I will get into that in another segment about why you shouldn't listen to them and how you can get codependent on them and not God, and then you end up having to pay for everything that you thought was good, end up turning on you. But anyway, so a long story short, I'm talking to my boyfriend, and he's like, she's doing witchcraft. She's doing witchcraft. That I didn't even tell him what the spiritualist said. He knew I was consulting one, but he didn't know what they knew because I didn't tell him that part. He was like, we arguing too much because he was highly spiritual. When I say highly spiritual, that means he had a prophetic anointing. He just, I don't know, he just didn't want to go to church because he was hurt. But he had a gift. Gifts that cause without repentance. So you're going to have your gift regardless. So a long story short, and I have one too. So together, iron sharpens iron. So we was both like seeing stuff in the spirit. But then also the other side of me was like, I don't know if that's true. Because again, when you're outside the will of God, your discernment can be distorted. It'll be confusing. You won't be able to really see clearly because you're out of alignment. So a long story short, y'all, we started bickering arguing. So Halloween came. Sister was over there like it was Christmas. She was decorating the house for Halloween stuff, and I was getting vexed. Like, Lord, I know I'm not in the place I'm supposed to be with you, but God, this don't even make no sense. Like, this girl is really happy about Halloween. So her baby daddy takes care of her son in another state or whatever. So I asked her one day, I said, have you ever put witchcraft on your baby daddy? And she was like, because she told me her grandma, you know, they knew how to do it or whatever. She did tell me that she used to put herself on a pyramid to get jobs and stuff. Y'all, I wasn't even thinking about that. I just didn't think that girl would do nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? I was in a no judgment zone, and I just didn't think she would do nothing to me because she was like, but I'm trying to get out of that. I want to go to church. I'm not a witch. You know, I know how to do witchcraft, but I'm not a witch. So a long story short, we was watching this movie one day, me, my ex-boyfriend, her. We was on the couch, and it seemed like spiritual warfare was just coming over me. Like I would be feeling demons and stuff. It was just getting real wicked up in there. So in the movie, now mind you, she lied and said she never put witchcraft on her baby daddy. In the movie, while we were watching the movie, she was like, oh yeah. And it was a movie with Loretta Devine and that man. Y'all go search up that movie. It's a witchcraft movie. And she was like, yeah, I don't watch stuff like that anymore, but I used to. She was like, yeah. She was like, I know how to do that. My grandma taught me. And I'm looking at her, and she's so excited about it. Yet you're saying that you're out of the craft. You don't do that no more. Yeah, man, I put witchcraft on my baby daddy. And the one thing my mama taught me is the devil will tell on himself. A lie ain't enough for nobody to tell it, and the devil will tell on himself. Y'all, I got to do a part 3. God dog me. I done ran out of time. Part 3. I had my friend put witchcraft on me. Y'all should have seen 1 and 2 if y'all want to know from the nitty gritty what happened in the beginning. So a long story short, after she started saying that she did witchcraft on her baby daddy or whatever like that, me and my ex-boyfriend was side-eyeing her like, what? So then it started being all kind of weird things happening in the house. My boyfriend, at the time, he knew more about that stuff than I did. Like, I know about it, but it was just some stuff because he said that he knew his sister or somebody somewhere, I don't know, from Louisiana, and she knew about that stuff. It's probably about his real sister, probably somebody he called his sister, but she knew about that stuff. So he grew up knowing about all that stuff or whatever. Like, he was actually in it. So anyway, long story short, we was watching the movie and everything just started getting weird from that point, to the point where he didn't even want to spend the night no more. It was so much it was so heavy up in that house. He was like, I can't stay no more. I can't spend the night. You know why he was doing that? Because she was doing it. Y'all don't understand when people be like, for real, want your life, or they jealous of you, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, or they just don't like you because of the devil that's in them. they will start doing stuff. She's told me after that movie she knew how to take a stick doll and put the pin. I said, what? Why you ain't telling me all of this before I moved in? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, why would you wait until this movie? I really believe that she was becoming demonically influenced as that movie was taking place. I truly believe that. Because there's no way in Sam H.E. double hockey sticks that this girl was manifesting the way she was, and you hadn't said none of that crap when we were friends before this movie came on. All you said that you knew about it because your granny had a basement in her closet full of them potions and all of that stuff, which is weird in itself. But me being the friend that I am and not being and having a no judgment zone, I was like, well, you know, that's what her granny did. You know, then it started like come. Y'all ever seen a movie where like memories just start coming to a person when they with a psychopath, and you know, memories start coming. Oh my God, he did this, he did that. That's how it was for me. I was like, she did say that she used to go to a school, like a little class with her grandma them. When she was a little girl, they used to make her go to like a little witchcraft class. But I didn't think about it. She said, and she also says she knows how to do that stuff, but she just don't do it because she wanted to go to church. She didn't want that to be her life. So after the movie went off, everything went haywire. The night we was watching the movie, y'all, the rat fell off the thing. I don't even know how what happened to the rat, but the rat fell off of the what is the thing called, what is it called, a cabinet or something, like the little counter, y'all, the counter. The rat fell off the counter. It said boop. I said ah, and I just started screaming, and they was laughing at me like, what the heck wrong with you? And because my boyfriend had fell asleep, my ex-boyfriend fell asleep, and she was just sitting there watching it like the little witch that she is. So I'm just sitting there, and she's like, girl, just don't worry about it. There is a rat. I need some wood rat. I need to go from house to house. I said, house to house? How you okay with a rat being in your house? That's what I don't understand. And like, I ain't gonna lie, she was in the hood or whatever, but y'all, the inside of her house, it didn't look like that. That house was nice. So that's why I didn't even understand why a rat was up in there. But it was, I guess, the way it was made, the foundation, and it was an old house. So ain't no telling, the rat probably got up in there some kind of way or whatever. But they ended up getting rid of the rat. Then she came in there with some dogs. Y'all, if y'all don't know me, I do not like nobody's dogs. I don't care if they're small, big, medium, tall. I don't like dogs. So she came in there with this dog. And she was like, yeah, I just got it from my friend or whatever. And she know I don't like dogs. And it was a Rottweiler. I said, this girl got to be done lost her mind. So I had got this little job or whatever because I stopped working at this salon because me and the girl fell out or whatever. She started acting weird. Everybody started acting really weird towards me when I got this boyfriend. Okay, everybody was my best. That's why they always say when you come up, that's why I made that rap. When you come up, let's see how many people be at the top. Y'all, I don't say this stuff because it's propaganda. I say this stuff because I done been through it. When you get to the top, and the top might even be what you think, it just be the next level. You know what I'm saying? A little better than what you was doing. And everybody just started acting real funny. And I couldn't understand it because homegirl that I was working in the salon with, she's married and her husband is military and they got a lot of money. She got like 5 businesses, literally. So what she was mad at me for? You know what I'm saying? Granted, my boyfriend, I'm not gonna lie, he was paying all my bills because I wasn't working. So he was paying my car note, insurance, and every other bill that I had up under me. He paid that. My phone bill, he paid all of that to make sure I stayed afloat or whatever. So I found me a job. So I ended up finding this job, y'all. And as I'm on this job, the first day I got fired. Because I'm on the job and something happened with the computer girl. I'm sorry, the girl. Y'all, the computer just stopped working. I said, well, what in the hell of cheese is going on here? So I'm just like, and y'all wasn't praying and stuff. And being the prayer warrior that I am, I wasn't doing none of that. Because I can't, baby. I could make hell nervous. But I wasn't in alignment to make hell nervous. So therefore, hell was literally making me nervous. I'm just going to be real, child. So long story short, she ended up bringing the dog in. I had the job or whatever. Then, y'all, as I'm on the job, the first day that happened, then they let me go because my computer wasn't working, so I couldn't get all my stuff. They let me go. I found me another job like a couple of weeks later. Gunshots. Pow, pow, pow. I dropped my computer, my laptop, get on the floor, and I'm ducking. I said, Lord, why is all this stuff happening? We was on the rough side of town, so it was a unaliving up the street at the store, and then there was another unaliving when I used to ride home from the salon before I quit. It was a caution tape, y'all. It was real bad over there. Well, it was on the east side. I stay in Florida. The east side ain't no joke. It was on the east side. So a long story short, I was still trying to stay there. It's like God was like, you need to get your behind out of there, but you just still trying to do what you want to do, and I'm causing all of these things to happen to you so you can get back in place. But I wasn't feeling it, because I didn't want to go back from square one. I wanted to be at her house, get myself together, and boom, boom, boom. That did not happen. So long story short, the dog came in, and he was being kind of weird or whatever. So I told my boyfriend, I said, hey, I'm finna move out of here. She got a dog in here. So long story short, one night my children came over there. My girl, she's grown. So she had came over there. Time she wasn't grown. She was like, she wasn't grown, but she was still her boyfriend. Long story short, she moved out when she was 17. I mean, y'all go through the math. But anyway, she moved with her boyfriend at 17. No, at 18. I'm sorry, y'all, at 18. Because 17, let me see. Did she move out? Yeah, I don't know. But she wanted to live with me because she wanted to do her own thing. No, she didn't move out. She got put out. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. She got put out. At like 17, because she wanted to go do her own thing. So she wanted to move with her boyfriend and his mama before she graduated. So she ended up moving with them or whatever like that. And then she had to, then me and her, we started back being acquainted, you know what I mean? And then we started building our mother and daughter relationship back up. And then I let her come spend the night with me and stuff. So one night she was in the bathroom. My daughter got a lot of hair. It's like this. She got a lot of hair. So she was in the bathroom or whatever, and she washing her hair, and it's just falling in the sink, like, you know, dead hair or whatever. I mean, in the drain. And the girl was yelling and screaming. It was like, why my drain messed up? Yelling and screaming. And my ex-boyfriend was like, do you know that's called binding? That wasn't your daughter hair did clog up that sink, because when I looked at that sink, it wasn't enough hair, because he had to go in the sink and try to figure it out. It wasn't enough hair to clog up the sink. He said she was doing a binding spell. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, you can do it with the hair. That's why you got to be careful. And I know about hair and stuff, but I didn't know about no sink and no drain. He knows about this stuff because of the girl he knew in New Orleans. So he knew New Orleans. How y'all say? Because they told me not to say New Orleans because that's a disgrace to New Orleans. So New Orleans. I guess they say put it together. So New Orleans. How it go? But he said that the sister or whatever, whoever the girl was, taught him a lot of that stuff. So he was screaming, hollering, you gotta get out of here, you gotta get out of here fast, you gotta get out of here fast, you gotta get out fast. And I'm like, what is you talking about? So I end up, before I moved, I noticed I wasn't keeping no jobs. And when I was consulting the spiritualists, they was like, yeah, you ain't keeping no jobs. And I didn't tell them I wasn't keeping no jobs. They was like, the such and such sign is putting this on you, and that's why you're not able to keep jobs. She's trying to make sure you don't make it. I am flabbergasted, because I'm like, my friend to the end is putting witchcraft on me, the same one who I'm crying in her arms, the same one. So y'all, my life was in shambles, because sister was not playing with me. And I don't even know if she had a little dog with pins, because I was getting sick as a dog. I guess I gotta do part 4. Jeez. Alright, part 4 on how my friend put witchcraft on me. She ain't my friend no more, but my ex-friend. So when I was telling y'all, the dog came and all this weird stuff, and then I was getting ready to move out. The day I moved out, she was very, very upset or whatever. So she started acting weird or whatever. So I got all my things, I moved out. Eventually, me and my partner or whatever, we had got our own spot. I missed the part when, before she started acting weird, excuse me guys, before she started acting weird, she was making me pay, and I didn't have no money. So not only was he paying for me to stay with her, he was also paying all my bills, like I told y'all, my car note, insurance, and whatever else bills I had going on, like phone bill, and you know, personal items, and weave and hair, and all kind of stuff, you know. And a long story short, when I moved out, y'all would have thought I still wasn't gonna talk to her, but I did, because I had a very forgiving heart. I'm sorry, y'all, but I do understand what it means to have a forgiving heart, and what it means to be smart about your decisions. Just because you have a forgiving heart, it doesn't mean that you don't have to be smart about your decisions. And I think people with forgiving hearts, they think, oh, I'm forgiving, I'm just gonna, no, you need to be wise as to who you are hanging with and what's going on. You need to assess the situation before you can forgive people, doesn't mean you have to go back to them. And that's something that I had an issue with at that time. So we ended up talking again, you know, and when we were talking, we went to this restaurant and we kicked it or whatever. And y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, the vibes was like off a little bit, but I was trying to make them on, because once a person is in witchcraft, they start looking very dark. So she just kept taking me out, because mind you, I was telling y'all she had a crush on me. I didn't know at the time my ex-boyfriend said something to me, and I was like, no, this is my friend. I'm still in La La Land. No, this is my friend. No, what it is all them times when she kept taking me out, talking about we going on dates as friends and stuff, we bringing dates and all that. Really, she was trying to get me to get to a point where she'll like be in a relationship. Now let me show you about this girl. This girl bad. She know like I really don't hang with ugly girls. I'm just not saying that I do it on purpose, but ugly girls I just don't attract. When I say ugly girls, just y'all said it, but I don't attract women that are not conventionally attractive. I just don't. You know what I mean? I just don't. She thick, she red, she kind of puts you in the mind of Latoya. Look at her a little bit. She really does. She's a pretty girl. So a long story short, you know, we went out, we did our due diligence or whatever, and then something, well, it was God, like, you gotta cut it off. Y'all, I was so hurt because even though she did all that stuff to me, I still saw a soul. I still saw an individual who was crying out for help. I still saw a broken individual. I still saw all of these things. But just because you see all of these things, when God is telling you to move from a situation, or when you feel in your heart you need to move from a situation, or you feel funny vibes or whatever, that's God telling your spirit like, hey, you need to move out. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something, witchcraft ain't no joke. One of my exes, his aunt is crazy, bat boo-boo crazy, because her ex-boyfriend mama was into that stuff, and now she be outside walking with no clothes on, like insane. And I saw pictures of this woman was bad to the bone. Now she look like I don't know what, because that person put that stuff on her because she left him. So that stuff ain't no joke, y'all. I just want to tell y'all, be careful when it comes to people, and be watchful and be prayerful. The Bible says watch as well as pray. Be prayerful about the people that y'all around, because you just never know who doing what. All right, y'all, be blessed. All right, powerful.
So now that y'all seen that, let's talk about this, because this was wild and this is crazy. Y'all know, as always, very, very important that's why I preach on here about spiritual health. Very, very important. You never know what entity, spirit that you were sleeping next to, inviting in your home, being best friends with, etc. So you always have to make sure you're spiritually healthy. Make sure that you're praying. Make sure if you go to a religious facility like church or whatever, make sure you're going there regularly if you feel safe there and comfortable there. Make sure you're fasting. Fasting is huge. If you ever want to manifest something, by the way, y'all, make sure you go on a fast. Like, that comes quick when every time I went on a fast, it seems like what I'm trying to manifest comes quick. Okay, so, but anyways, fasting is a great spiritual practice. It's like a spiritual boost, because it kind of clears out things physically in your body, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. It's just good to go on a fast. During that time, you should be like meditating, praying, all of that. A spiritual bath. I took one of those recently. I had some Florida water, some herbs. I went to a herbalist. So go to a spiritual herbalist store. Look up them in your city and tell them like, hey, I would like to do a spiritual bath. They'll give you some stuff. I know I have Florida water. I can't think of the names of all the herbs, but I think I had like 3 or 4 different herbs. Put them in the water, took a bath, meditated, prayed, scrub, and imagine scrubbing off the like toxins or bad energy, everything. And I felt so good and refreshed after that. So there's just different ways you can spiritually cleanse yourself. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you have a balance of, like, if you're eating bad, listening to bad music, watching bad TV, that will become your reality 9 times out of 10. Because of that, that's what you're feeding your spirit and your subconscious. So make sure you have a balance. Okay. You don't have to be a health freak or anything. Just make sure you have a balance. That's why I go on fast as well. Okay. But let's talk about the video. So what threw me off is she said like she wasn't in a rush to move out, and she wanted to like get herself together. And if I look down, I have my comments on here. She said she wasn't in a rush to move out, and she wanted to like get herself together and stuff like that. I personally feel like if you are not on your stuff, you should not be dating. Whether you're a female or a male, you shouldn't be dating. Like, you're still, no matter if the girl lived with you prior or not, and you helped her out prior or not, it still don't mean that you should be comfortable in that situation. So I feel like her dating and her man like flexing on her, like with spending money and doing all this kind of stuff, y'all still living for free in a woman's house because she couldn't keep a job and you weren't steadily paying rent towards anything towards the rent, anything towards the bills. Probably wasn't putting groceries in the house because she couldn't keep a steady job. But y'all comfortable laying up, shacked up in the house. That's unacceptable. And I don't know how old they were. They probably were young, but I'm just saying that's unacceptable as an adult. Like, you're staying here because I'm helping you so you don't have to be homeless. So that don't mean you get to do all of these things. Your focus should be towards getting on your feet, getting your own place, keeping a stable job. Like, that's what that's there for, not shacking up and all that other kind of stuff. That's just my opinion though, okay? And then she said, like, her roommate said that. Like, her roommate said, like, y'all gonna have to get y'all a place. And again, I agree with her. Whether the roommate was right or not, morally, spiritually, etc., her saying that, I agree with that. She might have been a little salty and jealous that he was spending money on her, but I agree with that. Y'all living in my house for free. Like, and you buying her this, buying her that. How about you put that money towards a bill? Y'all staying here, y'all use my water, y'all use my electricity, heat, whatever, air, whatever it is. Like, y'all still, no matter the living conditions, y'all still staying here. So that money should be towards the home owner or renter, whatever, okay? And then she's like, oh, he's spending all this money on her and all this kind of stuff. Like, I still don't understand if you're with a man and you don't have your own place. Like, I don't understand what he's doing for you. He can spend money and get you this, get you that, but I feel like that's pointless if you can't allow her to live with you or you can't help her get her own place. Like, y'all staying in a rat infested place. Well, I don't know if it's infested, but it had rats in there, okay? Y'all both don't like the living conditions, but you steady spending money on buying her things and getting her, like, putting money towards her cell phone, all this kind of stuff. Like, no, those things are wants, not needs. So I feel like he should have been putting money towards either getting him a place so she can live with him or helping her get her own place. Like, that just was backwards to me, and it sounds like they priorities was crazy. But regardless, the roommate was out of line. Crazy. Like I said, make sure y'all spiritually protect yourself, but that is how I feel about it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all in the next one.